We did it, folks. Guys, hello. Welcome back, or welcome back. I finished my first year of vet school. Woo! So, what does that mean? Now we can rank all the classes that I did throughout my first year. I would like the record to state, Dean of the vet school, if you're ever watching this, or anybody in charge of the vet school, these opinions are my own. They are not reflective of the school, Kansas State, the professors, or the quality of education that I received. I feel I received a good education. I liked all my professors. Some professors just did not vibe with me, their teaching style. So, I think that should cover my bases, but these are my opinions. Make your own. Love you and don't kick me out. Okay, so, finished my first year of vet school. I have thoughts. And yes, this pyramid is a little bit fucked, but number 12, we're just gonna start now. Number 12, epidemiology. When I tell you this class pissed me off, I don't think that's an accurate enough reflection. I thought epidemiology was, the study of how diseases spread, right? Like, we all know the cholera, hand pump, Jon Snow, not that Jon Snow, the other Jon Snow. That's what I was kind of rocking with in my mind. Then, day one, they pull up the conditional probability formula. I was like, I'm fucked. I'm bad at math. This is not what I was expecting. And we're doing math? What? So, let's just write this down. Biology. No, not a fan. That was a second semester course. Not my favorite. Also, a little annoying because it was very stats heavy, and I've taken, before I graduated undergrad, I ended up taking 4 fucking stats classes because none of my credits would transfer from one college to the other because fuck Texas. So I ended up taking so many stats classes. I thought that I would have a better understanding of what was happening once I realized, oh shit, this is just a stats class. But no, I didn't think that it was taught in a very clear-cut way, in my opinion. Once again, all my opinion. So I just did not fuck with that class at all. So that's in the pits of hell, actually. Here's hell. It's down there. Abandon all hope, ye who enter into epidemiology. All right, next, career development. I have no memory of this course. Apparently, I looked at my schedule because I forget a lot of courses. My brain has the memory of a goldfish at this point. I have no memory of this course. Genuinely none. It was the very first class that we ever started with, so it was 8 a.m. on a Monday. I think it was once a week. I have no idea what that class was. Genuinely, I cannot remember it. It was on my schedule. It's on my transcript. Couldn't tell you what the fuck it was, so let's go in at 11, because I don't remember that at all. We're just going to call that CD. Okay. Next, research. You would think, oh, research, sick. Wrong. So, research in any field, especially I think veterinary medicine, is incredibly important. You should be able to read an article and recognize, hey, what the hell is this? Do I care? Why do I care? And what did they find out, or what did they not find out? You should be able to do this. I did not think that this research course taught us anything besides, or anything that a undergrad research class would not have taught you. Honestly, if you went through the scientific method at all, you got the gist of this course. I did not like the professor. I do not like the way he teaches. And hated it. But I remember that it was a course, so that's why it's above career development, because genuinely, I did not remember that we took that class. So, we're doing research. And number 10. Okay. Next, immunology, which, you know, I'm a little sad that it's so low. I'm the one who ranked it, but like, I'm still sad because I like immunology. I like the immune system is so fucking crazy and it's very important, but I didn't fucking like this class. I loved the professor, which is like, loved the professor. I thought he was so sweet. He was so nice. I thought he was a good lecturer. It's just, oh my god, it was so boring. Like, a couple of classes that I took in undergrad and high school had a pretty strong immunology focus, weirdly. I don't know, one of my high school teachers, like, minored in immunology, or like, I don't know, he had a lot of immunology knowledge, so he taught us that. So, going into the class, when the very first exam was, in my opinion, review, I'm not going to say got a little cocky, but I got a little lazy in that class, because I was like, we already know all this shit. Yeah. Then they started testing over what receptor does this, and I was like, okay. Or what enzyme in this particular pathway, in this scenario, does this. And I was like, girl, I don't care. I don't care. I don't think that's important. If it is, shoot me. I don't know. But I felt that it was more important to understand the pathway, the cause, the outcome, and hey, what do I do about that, if anything? So that's what I focused on. Whatever. Do I now know that, like, certain hypersensitivity reactions have to do with FCR, whatever fucking receptor? Yes. Does that matter? No. So, for the fact that I did not appreciate how detailed we got sometimes, because I did not think that that mattered, we're going number 9. Number 8. Now, I'm going to do something a little controversial, but, like, what are you going to fucking do about it? I'm going to split up a class based on semester, because we had several classes that were both first semester and second semester classes. So I'm going to do that because I can, and fuck you. Number 8, large animal anatomy. That was a... Do I want to change that order? No. Large animal anatomy. So second semester anatomy. Bitch. Nah. Nope. Hated it. Hated it. Hated it. Let me be diplomatic about this. The professor who taught the second semester of large animal anatomy, her teaching style just didn't really resonate with me. It's just not a style that I was really able to remember and retain information with. Or I guess remember and retain are the same thing. But, like, you get it. So I really struggled with grasping what she was trying to say in a lecture. And the lab was just annoying as fuck. So fucking annoying. So confusing for no fucking reason. Whatever. And another fucking irritating thing is, like, my background in practice is majority small animal. So it made sense to me that, like, I would grasp small animal anatomy quicker, and it would just make more sense to me. Like, I knew that was going to happen. But I went to Texas Tech for part of my undergrad. My anatomy experience in undergrad, I would say, was 70% large animal anatomy. So I felt like, even if I don't have the best clinical background in large animal anatomy or large animal practice, whatever, I at least had, like, a couple years of large animal anatomy from undergrad. It helped me, but not as much as I kind of wished it had. And I thought it was a little bullshit that I was having to refer to a textbook from my freshman year of undergrad at a different college to figure out what my vet school professor was trying to articulate. That was a little shitty. So we're going to call this ALG for large. Next, I need to get off my soapbox with large animal anatomy, or I'm going to get kicked out of the vet school. Okay, next, 7. Cell physiology. Okay, cell phys is going to be a little bit of a controversial take. I mean, it's not. It is and it's not. So, cell physiology was the bane of my existence for like 2 or 3 months. It was the very first exam we took in vet school. I did so incredibly well that I had to go talk to the professor and him be like, hey, are you stupid? Hey, what are we thinking about this? I'm like, I literally don't know. Bitch, this dude, he had us calculate the volume of a cylinder. We didn't get a formula. Apparently everybody knows the fucking volume of a cylinder formula in their head. I didn't. I guessed. It was wrong. And so when I go to the professor and he's like, talk me through your thought process, which means, hey, you fucking moron, why did you put this answer? I don't know. I just made it up. I don't fucking know. So he was like, well, tell me what the volume of a cylinder, like, what is that equation? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. He was like, no, just like think really hard about it. Yeah, let me do that. What the fuck? I was terrible at geometry. I have terrible spatial awareness. So did super fucking ass on that exam. Made me want to drop out. Like, it was our first exam. I was so sad. I was so upset. But after the first exam, we got another professor who came in and taught other material. So like one lecture would be by the dude who asked me what the volume of a cylinder was. Didn't know. And then another lecture would be taught by another professor. And thank the vet school god, because the majority of the content on all subsequent exams was 70% of the professor who I liked. And so I went from sucking major shit on the exams to doing okay, like doing well. And so I'm gonna put it at 7 because fuck that dude who said, what's the volume of his cylinder? What do you mean you don't know? I mean, I don't know. Fuck you. I don't know what the fucking volume of a cylinder is. I still don't. By the way, still, hey, unsure. Also, that professor, the self-is professor, one of my friends had to go talk to him also because she did so incredibly well on the exam. And she's kind of like me. Whenever she gets frustrated, she starts to cry, which is a really bad defense mechanism. I wish that would be a different defense mechanism. And he was like, oh, I don't have any tissues. And he hands her like a Chemtech wipe. Like one of those wipes that you use to like, this is not gonna be helpful for anyone who doesn't do this, but like a microscope, like cleaning, like an oil blotting sheet, basically. He handed her that. It was like, here. Genuinely, because I almost went in and started crying. But I hated him so much that I was like, no. You're not going to give him that. Can you not for right now? Like, I'm not going to give him that satisfaction. So I held it back. But then hearing that he gave my friend, like, an oil blotting thing to stop her tears, I was like, actually, that would have cured me. I think if I started crying and he gave me a Chemtech wipe, I think I would have snapped out of it and been like, hey, it's not that deep. It's really not that deep. So, yeah, that's my funny story for self-is. Okay, then 6, anatomy, small animal. So anatomy, small animal, what? Yeah, a small animal was first semester anatomy. This orange is awesome. Shout out Expo, low odor. I'd agree. Okay, I don't know why I just did that. Okay, anatomy, small animal. First semester anatomy, taught by a completely different professor than large animal. I really appreciated the way that this professor organized his material. I thought the lab was better organized. The specimens were better quality, which is not something that like the professors have complete control over for large animal. Like, I'm not saying that the professor purposefully got us bad quality specimens. Like, that's fucking stupid. No. But that was a negative. So, but I liked the professor better. It was content that I already kind of understood just from practice, and I was able to make clinical, like, relationships between things, which just really helps me learn. I just liked it more. I had a better background in it, and I liked the professor more. Then we have animal welfare, a very important class. I wish that there was more emphasis on this as a concept in vet med, because we only had it once. Like, it was, I think it was once a week. It was once a week our first semester, and then that was it. There was an additional, like, welfare elective that a lot of my friends took, and they loved it. So I'm glad that K-State has this as a required course. I wish that there was more about it, I guess. And maybe there is. Obviously, I only finished my first year, so I don't fucking know. We'll update you, though, if there are more. But, yeah, I really liked it. I liked the professor. It's only lower because sometimes it made me sad. Because people are bad people, so. But treat your animals nice, or else. Also, one of the professors was Canadian, and so she would say a boot, and I thought that was fun. Next, clinical skills. Round of applause. Clinical skills. Really like that class. First semester, super boring. Super boring. And even the professors were like, hey, first semester's lame as fuck. We know it. Deal with it. Which I appreciate, because we have clinical skills, I want to say, up until the, yeah, we have like 4 semesters of clinical skills. So I've done 2. You do 2 more years, sophomore year. Then you work with those same professors in junior surgery, I'm pretty sure. Could be wrong. I don't know. But, so first semester, lame as hell. Second semester, less lame. We were going over, like, large animal physical exams, which I haven't done very many of. So we were doing that. Practice blood draws, catheter placement. But I really liked the care and attention that every professor put into that course, and I thought that they were really good at introducing kind of tricky concepts. Like, we were learning suturing, and they had 4 professors walking around our class of like 20 or 30 students, so that if we had a question or if we were doing something wrong, the professor would catch it and be like, hey, try this, or like, hey, close, but you know, your suture's too tight, or here, hold your instrument this way. It was just really helpful, and I thought that was really nice. We're gonna do CS, Clin skills. We're in the top 3 now, okay? This is the big leagues. These next 2, I could flip-flop depending on my mood. For right now, we are going to put clinical pathology, ClinPath 1, as our number 3 slot. I'm not going to write CP on there because that's a little unfortunate. We're going to do ClinPath. Bing! Okay, clinical pathology. So, first off, adore the professor. One of the best professors I've ever had. Genuinely love her so much. We did have her for like, how long was it? Dude, I think it was like a 4-hour lecture. Or it was like slotted to be a 4-hour lecture every Tuesday afternoon. And so with any other professor, I've been like, oh, I'm gonna kill myself. This is so boring. Why are we here for so fucking long? But she was so good at keeping things going, keeping us like engaged, or as engaged as possible. It was the first class where, you know, you feel like a doctor. So it was just really interesting. Absolutely adored the professor. We're gonna have her again next semester, and I am so looking forward to it. I think she was incredible. And she's like a stained glass artist. How fucking cool is that? She like sews her own clothes and she wears them to class in this like funky cool jacket. And you'll ask her, you'll be like, whoa, that's a really cool jacket. Where'd you get it? And she'll be like, I made it. You're so fucking cool. Anyway, love her to death. Shout out my girl. I'm not going to shout her out because I feel like that's a little weird. But like, if you know, you know. Shout out my queen. See you in a couple months, girl. Next, like I said, these two could flip depending on my day. We have bacteriology. Now, this is a controversial one because a lot of students in my class fucking hated Bact. And to that I say, suck it. You're wrong. Because things in vet school are supposed to be difficult. In case you're wondering, they're supposed to be nitpicky, which is why, like, immunology, yes, I can be mad that it was like, or not mad, but I can be frustrated that it was so specific and so nitpicky about like, what receptor? I don't fucking care. But at the end of the day, that's what you're being tested over. That's what you should know. In Bact, we were told you're going to be tested over stupid little shit. That's a little annoying, but sucks to suck. I don't know. I'm a Bact supporter, you know? I thought it was very interesting. We had two professors. The first professor taught bacteriology, like the first part, I guess, like the first 2/3 of it. Then the last dude taught primarily like mycology, so like fungus and shit. Loved him. I loved both professors. I thought they were great. I think they both had different strengths and weaknesses, but overall, I fucking loved Bact. I think it was super interesting. It was a hard course because it was so much information. I got a lot of shit in class for loving Bact and defending Bact. So I'm very passionate about that. And also, I get a lot of shit for number one. Our number one rank for the first year of vet school, drum roll please, systems physiology. Systems. Okay, systems physiology. What a doozy. What a fun class. So, okay. Systems physiology, taught by another one of the best professors I've ever had, genuinely. He is so engaging as a professor. He is able to break things down in a very simple way while maintaining the complexity, if that makes sense. Like, he's able to make a complex thing into simple bite-sized pieces that you can then combine into a bigger thing. I don't know how to explain that. He also did clinical correlation at the beginning and end of every lecture. So he would say, like, a dog presents with these symptoms. What do you think is happening? Why do you think is happening? What do you expect or whatever? And at the beginning, we're like, literally, how would we know? But at the end of the lecture, he would ask us the same questions. Okay, what do you think is happening? And you would be able to answer it. And you'd be able to point back to a certain slide and be like, well, because of X, Y, and Z, that explains these symptoms and whatever. So absolutely adored it. The professor who taught systems was the one who saved my fucking ass in cell phys. I also just really liked the way that the professor organized his slides. I feel like the way that you organize your slides, for some reason, like, changes the way that I can process information, because The first dude in Self-Is, all of his slides are in Comic Sans. What? Like, my biochem professor did that in undergrad, and I feel like I can't learn from Comic Sans. I just can't take it seriously. I see it and I'm like, what do you want me to do about this? Anyway, this dude, shout out. That's a heart. Whatever. Shout out. Love him. Him and her, two favorite professors. Love them to death. We went through like every body system. Like, no shit, that's what systems physiology is. My favorite system we went over was reproductive physiology. Least favorite? Oof. I think it's a three-way tie between pulmonary, cardiology, and renal, because pulmonary, it was taught by a different dude who I thought sucked shit at lecturing. I was like, what fucking point are you trying to make? So, did like embarrassingly bad on that exam. Oopsie. Then cardiology, also taught by a different professor. Did not fucking like him. The pulmonary and the cardiology professor, my dislike towards them, very controversial. Everybody I talked to was like, no, I love them. I think they're great. They're so funny. Who gives a fuck if they're funny? No one did well on the exam. No one understood what he was talking about. I work with a fucking cardiologist, and I didn't understand what was happening in the cardiology portion. Then for renal physiology, oh my heavens, fuck the kidneys. Like, we got there in the end, and I feel like I can talk through the different parts of the kidney and like main function. I can talk through different receptors and how to affect like diuretics, and I feel like I can talk through that now. But for some reason, whenever we were learning the material and taking the exam on the material, my brain hadn't like loaded that information yet. I studied so hard for that exam. Bruh, the way I got that paper and I looked at it, I went, okay, well, anyway, that is the definitive Sarah ranking of first year of vet school at Kansas State Vet School. I took a bunch of electives as well, but that feels stupid to include because those aren't core classes. So that's my ranking. Epidemiology, fuck off. Career development, have no memory of that class. Literally none. Research, fuck off. Immunology, whatever. Large animal anatomy, fuck that. Self-Is, fuck that first professor. Thank God for the second professor. Small animal anatomy, cool. Welfare, awesome. Clinical skills, hell yeah. Clin path, yeah. It's only in number 3 because it's so hard. Back T, hell yeah. Systems, hell yeah. Here's one thing that I'll say. If you are someone who got into K-State, but like you also got into other schools, and you're like, I don't know where I should go. Here are the professors that are the reason you should go to K-State, in my opinion, during your first year. These are the ones that will be like, yeah. Small animal anatomy professor. He is incredible. He's so funny. He's so nice. Love him so much. Clinical pathology. Love her. So much fun. Talk to her. Learn from her. She does this thing where she's like, I'll give you 5 extra credit points if you show up and like we can just chat and I can like get to know you. Hell yeah. Back T. Both professors, so incredibly nice, so incredibly sweet. Systems. He's the best professor that like you will ever have, I think. He's just a very interesting dude. Very interesting dude. He also did a winter like concert for us with his wife and kids, and they like all played instruments, and he brought us cookies and he made us hot chocolate. Okay, actually really funny story. I'm just enjoying talking right now. He made us hot chocolate, but he made it in those like Gatorade containers, you know, the ones that like after the Super Bowl they unscrew and they dump on the coach, like in that. But he was in like the first year lounge after an exam, and I'm laying on a like chair just kind of like and I look over and I see my professor pouring boiling water into this like giant Gatorade tub, and I just go like, "Hey buddy, what you doing there?" He goes, "Making hot cocoa." All right, man, hell yeah. And I go, "Oh, okay. How much hot cocoa?" And he goes, "However much you guys want." Like, sick, dude. Hell yeah. So that was very, very sweet. He did not have to do that. It was also really funny watching this adult man, who I think is maybe one of the smartest people I've ever talked to. It was very funny to watch him bulk make hot cocoa for his class of vet students. That was very, very sweet of him. That's all. Thank you for joining me on this incredible and way too in-depth ranking on the first year classes. Whatever. Later.